Last week, I was feeling pretty discouraged. I feel better today, but it was a good reminder that change is hard and progress isn't always linear. I've really enjoyed the challenge of starting this business as a health, longevity, and occasionally running coach, as well as writing my newsletter. But some days it can definitely feel more like a hobby than a real business. I try to remind myself that making change is difficult, that it requires effort and more than anything, time. But time often feels like an adversary, a thief stealing moments and opportunity from you gradually and inexorably. At least, that's how it felt last week. Other days, though, time itself feels like an opportunity that if only you keep feeding more of it into the machine, one day it will produce gold. When I talk to friends, clients, and family, I remind them and myself that we often overestimate what we can accomplish in a week, but we underestimate what we can accomplish in a year. And somewhere between those two time horizons is the problem. When I worked for liquor brands, in particular the startups, the annual goals would seem gargantuan. But that's because it's hard to extrapolate forward and imagine how the progress you've been making will continue to compound day after day. To be certain, we didn't always achieve those goals, but we would often end the year much closer than we thought, and for roughly the same amount of work as the previous year. We kept feeding our effort and time into the machine, and the machine made gold. But on a daily or weekly basis, it was really easy to get discouraged. It's easy to feel that if you don't make a sale or close a new deal right now, that you're failing and going to fall short of your goals. You keep pushing the boulder up the mountain and it's just getting steeper. I've felt this way with my fitness and my body too. For years, I kept old clothes that were too tight, imagining that if I only ran more like I used to, that I could reclaim them. At a certain point, though, I thought, well, this is just my body now, and I got rid of those clothes. Now I've had to get rid of clothes that were too big. Turns out, just my body now was my body then. But that process of changing my body composition and in the process improving blood biomarkers and my overall health, that took 2 years. And really, it's still ongoing. I was very lucky though. I had years of running and activity to lean on, as well as a supportive partner who was also in the midst of her own health journey. Also, the big levers that I needed to pull with respect to my sleep and nutrition turned out to be relatively easy and straightforward. In order to improve the quality of my sleep, I cut back on alcohol, especially in the 2 or 3 hours leading up to bedtime. I also focused on being more consistent with when I went to bed and when I woke up. And an inexpensive sleep mask helped make my bedroom pitch black, at least to my eyeballs. For nutrition, we started including a source of protein in every meal, something that I had never given much thought to or had actively avoided. Protein, as I would realize, is more satiating than the carbohydrate focused meals I was used to. As a result, I ate less. And adding more strength training, something I never spent much time on, helped to put that protein to work building muscle. Don't get me wrong, I still struggle with doing as much strength training as I think I should. For me, aerobic training has always been my first and second choice. But recently, rucking has helped me develop some functional strength, and I'm usually pretty good about doing a strength session on Saturday mornings, though some weeks I'm a little more motivated than others. But the beautiful thing about consistency is that it tends to work. That is my hope with this newsletter, my videos, my coaching business, and your health. I'm hopeful and confident that if we keep feeding time into the machine, we'll get something valuable out the other end. Now, that doesn't make the discouraging days any easier. But as long as we have more time to feed into the machine, we have a chance to turn those discouraging days around. However, and this is very important, if you aren't achieving the health results you'd like and think you should be, some of your actions may inadvertently be working in opposition to your goals. For me, I thought my sleep, nutrition, movement were good, if not great. But they weren't. I was wrong. I was leaving a lot on the table, and it really showed. And there might be underlying health issues. One of my clients discovered that their hypothyroidism had worsened, leaving them exhausted, brain foggy, and unhappy with their body composition. That's why I encourage my clients to work with their doctor to make sure that their hormones and blood work look good. Unfortunately, all of the quality sleep, proper nutrition, and robust movement programs in the world aren't going to get your thyroid functioning properly if there's an issue. I mean, it can help, but modern medicine is a wonder and we should absolutely take advantage of it. When you feel discouraged, especially with your health, your fitness, try to remember that there are no quick fixes, but there are fixes that can be implemented quickly. And that even if you're not seeing changes as quickly as you would like, the very act of moving a little, choosing some nutrient-rich food, or prioritizing quality sleep is improving your health and moving you closer to the next version of yourself. So keep putting time into the machine day by day, week by week, year by year, and you'll get your goals out the other end. All right, thank you for watching. If you like these videos, please do let me know in the comments below, and please check out the full article on Substack to learn one thing you can do every morning to help improve your sleep and hopefully feel more motivated and less discouraged.